All right, hey, I'm Rick Roth from the Ink Kitchen, and welcome to Shop Talks. We have sponsors that make these free. What we try to do up here is have people that know what they're doing. And when I first started, a lot of people helped me out, and there's a lot of charlatans in the industry. And so I always try to have like the best people. And maybe they can't teach you everything they know up here, but you will get to see what they do, and you can seek them out afterwards. And so I would highly recommend that. I'm going to give a little plug for my compatriot here, Kevin Baumgart, and we're going to talk a little bit about sales. All right?
What's up?
How's that for an intro?
Hello.
Huh?
Hello. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
All right. So, I think we discussed earlier, we don't have time to train people to be salespeople here, but maybe we'll get just a little start, a couple ideas to think about. So let's first say like your kind of big philosophy about sales, or like, a couple things about just your philosophy of it.
It's interesting. Sales in our industry really isn't sales. It's like order taking. It's inbound. We don't sell.
On good days, it's order taking.
Yeah. True. But it's fascinating. If we put out good product and we provide a good level of customer experience and service for our clients, they just keep coming back. And then they tell a bunch of people. And then it's all word of mouth, organic growth. So what I found is like, if you do a good job, you're going to grow. But if you really want to grow and you want to drive new revenue, you got to go out and find it. You got to go out and sell. So I think like my overall philosophy in sales, specifically in the decorated apparel industry, is like, yes, do a good job. Yes, grow current customers. Yes, grow organically, but also put time and effort and emphasis and focus into actually going outbound and finding new business and building and growing revenue.
All right. And again, without a full training weekend, how about a few tips about like things that people can do that they could take away today that are good ideas, and then maybe a few, or if you want to alternate, whatever, a few things that people you see do wrong quite often.
Okay, yeah, the pitfalls and the best practices. From an outbound perspective, I talk to shops and they'll be like, yeah, I sent a couple emails, or I did this for an outbound project and it really didn't work. It's like, all right, well, let's take a step back. Let's dissect that. There has to be like an actual structured approach, a campaign, an outbound strategy. It can't just be I'm going to send a couple emails. I can't remember who I stole this from, but niches make riches. So find your target. And you can probably think within your shops, the vertical or the industry or the market that you play really, really well in, that you already have testimonials and clients that would say good things about you. Exploit that. Go out. Go find more of those clients. Build campaigns around that. Build talk tracks. We are the most widely used decorated apparel provider in this industry, in this geography. Like, start saying that and showing that like that's your space and you own it. And now go out and build campaigns focused solely on that. So two things there, like find your target market. Don't just spray anybody. And then the second being be really focused. It has to be a campaign. It can't be one or two touches. All the data now is showing that it takes like more than 10 touches, calls, emails, social media connections for someone to remember your name, your company, and what you do. So like you got to really build campaigns.
Maybe it's getting better. I remember someone telling me it was 14.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's 14. Maybe my data's old. But yeah, it takes a lot. It's not just like...
Look who's old.
Yeah.
My dad is...
Yeah. So yeah, it's got to be a structured
You mean really
approach.
specific too. You don't mean like to say we're the best or something like that. You mean like really identify what you do.
For sure. And it's hard in outbound outreach because we get hit so hard. So as business owners, like, how many emails you get, right? So you gotta be able to stand out. Like, I've heard a lot of shops starting to use like ChatGPT to build email campaigns, and I see the emails and there's 6 paragraphs. I'm like, nobody's reading that shit. So building out like really direct, to the point, focused outreach, and like saying things like, we help other taproom managers in breweries around the Long Beach area to provide really strong retail merchandise solutions for their breweries, and want to see if we can help you in the same way. So you know me, you know my industry, you know my space. I know now how you help them. Maybe I'm a little bit more apt to respond and say yes to that. So yeah, as direct and as targeted as possible from an outreach perspective.
How about mistakes you see people make? We already mentioned one,
Just like
not having a plan.
sending an email, not having a plan, not being focused on it. I'll touch on that a little bit more. It's like, think about the effort and emphasis and focus that we put on production, on our equipment, on our production processes, on art. Like we spend time, effort, focus on doing all of that. How much time do you spend on focusing on sales and growing revenue and driving a better customer experience? It's like, if you've got these aggressive growth goals or you want to drive more profitable growth to your shop, why not take some of that knowledge share and time and put it into actually building, focusing on, and growing sales? If you put time and effort into it, it'll help. One other pitfall that I see a ton of shops fall into, Rick mentioned he's got a pretty substantial shop. He's the only salesperson. He's got a lot of salespeople that are fielding those inbound orders, right? They're fielding the inbound orders. They're providing customer service. They're answering emails. They're following up. Typically what I see shops do is they'll take that customer service person and they'll be like, all right, you do a good job here and you know our business, now go sell. And not a lot of people, in my experience, are really good at all of those things of sales, of prospecting and lead generation and cold calling, and then initial meeting analysis and discovery, and then closing deals, and then supporting customers. So if you're really focused on going outbound and building that, you should have that person. It should be that individual that's what they want to do. That's what they're good at. That's what they can focus on and really build it.
Yeah, because the converse is true. I am a really crappy customer service person because I'm not organized and I don't take care of the details. So yeah, it's not the same as sales. Not the same at all. So when do you do this? Like I see a lot of people that sort of like they get slow and then they try to sell a lot. Seems like that's like a little too late.
Yeah, that's like now. Everybody's like, oh, hey, Kevin, help us sell. It's January and we don't have any orders coming in. Sales should be an ongoing thing. It shouldn't be Q1, everybody's slower, so now let's focus on going outbound and building new customer potential lead lists and now doing it. It's got to be an ongoing thing. It can't be you just one and done. Size-wise, it just depends. I've seen shops that are well under $1 million of revenue that are bringing on a salesperson to help them grow and manage and build a business. And I've seen some that are 10 million plus, don't have any salespeople, and now they're starting to think about it. So I don't think there's really any right or wrong time. One other best practice that I wanted to make sure that I touched on, I'm starting, even though a lot of the work that I do is helping shops go out and find and build new outbound clients, like customer acquisition, outbound net new, the conversation sometimes transitions into how can we maximize the revenue that we're getting from our current customers, and how can we really build them as our staples and make sure that we're optimizing the revenue that we get. One thing that I found that can really, really move the needle, show of hands here, and I want you to be honest. How many of you on a quarterly basis touch base with at least the top 10% of your clients and have like a structured meeting where you talk through the last quarter's production work that you did with them and then the next quarter and what they're really focused on? Wow. You guys lying? Usually I get no hands. So we got a few hands.
Maybe they took a class with you before.
Yeah, there you go. It's called like a quarterly partnership review or quarterly business review. Doing that religiously and having that structured discussion and conversation, not only can it ensure that you're uncovering the problems and challenges that they're having, but it can really set you up for success in the quarter going forward and make sure that you're getting all that revenue. So you can have the conversations like, hey, we do tote bags too. Or, hey, you put this big order in 11 months ago. Is that order going to come in again? Or even like, what's one thing that you wish you would change about the level of service that we provide? Or think to your last order, what's one thing we wish we could have done differently? And when I roll this out with shops, often they're like, we did this QPR and guess what? It was like a bitch session. It's like, Good. Now you know. Now you know what they're challenged with and concerned with, and now you can overcome it. So like that,
Yeah, better than them leaving by
totally
showing with their feet, right?
Exactly. If you don't know that this is an issue or challenge or problem with them, they're going to go elsewhere. So I do think that quarterly partnership review and that structured conversation with clients, really big lift of, and potentially a big revenue driver for clients as well.
It's funny you say that. I have a customer that did that to us. They started having regular meetings. I should have done it, but they do it.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like the meetings have led to more work.
That conversation shouldn't be like, it doesn't have to be really sophisticated and hard to structure. It can be sharing some data. Over the last quarter, we did this many orders. This was your average turnaround time. This was the total investment in apparel. Here's what's new on our end: new employees, new process, new equipment, new structure. What's new on your end? Get feedback from them. And then 25 of the 30 minutes should be deep into, now what can we do to be a better partner, and how can we support you in the quarter coming up, and what's next, what's there?
Yeah, I notice all the people selling to us do that. The AlphaBroder, Sanmars, whatever. They tell, oh, to date you've done this work, and what's the matter? And they have a interview,
For sure.
if you will, and say what changed, and et cetera, to make sure they're doing a good job, because it might be extraneous things.
And often, especially if it's a software company, usually that person that's having that quarterly business review is not the person that sold you. It's a separate person. There's salespeople, and there's those customer service people that are supporting post.
All right, you want to say anything else, or should we do questions?
Let's do questions.
All right. Got a good sales guy here.
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, so just going back to the struggle of, all right, we get busy, we lose track of sales, and we don't even do sales because we're busy, right? And then it starts getting slow again, and then you're like scrambling to get sales. How do we avoid that? Because I think I speak for everybody else where it's like, all right, you're busy. We don't really need to go and pursue sales because we're busy, we're doing other stuff. And we don't have, like for me, I don't have a salesperson. I am the salesperson. So when I start getting busy, it's hard for me to like break off and schedule an email or start a campaign.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good question. So like how do we make sure that it doesn't stop? Like when we're slow, we think about it and we're like, oh man, I got to send some emails and target. But when we're busy, it falls off. My recommendation, two things. One, if you really want it to be a focus of your business, you got to have that person. You got to have that salesperson that's all they're focused on. As business owners, you guys are pulled in a ton of different directions and you have a lot going on. Sales is maybe one of those things, but there's other things that are going to pull you away. And prospecting, cold calling, going out and doing outreach is the least fun of sales. It's arduous, it's monotonous, it's rejection filled, it sucks, right? So you're not gonna do it because it's not fun. You got to get that person there. If you are going to hold yourself accountable and do it, the only thing that I've found that works is blocking time. Putting time in the calendar, that's structured time that you're not going to get pulled away from, that everyone in the shop knows that Ryan's in sales mode for the next 2 hours. Lock yourself in a room, make your cold calls, send your targeted emails. It's the only way that it gets done. And if it's a focus for you and your business and you want to grow, you gotta put that time on the calendar.
You maybe can divest other things would be the other way. To make that time, I'm just not going to deal with production. You got to have people that do it. That's more my approach because I wasn't good at supervising salespeople.
Tough decision to make though, right? You got to feel comfortable with delegating. You got to have the right people on the team to do that. It's not the easiest, but yeah, you got to delegate
and suffer.
Yeah.
Things will not get done the way you want.
And let the team perform. Let the team perform once you give them the reins.
All right. More questions for Kevin here?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
So when we're talking about, we keep talking about how it's like relationship building more than it is actual like straight sales, as opposed to like being a car salesman or something like that.
Sure.
How do you manage, you've got an existing relationship with a client, and in those you're like, here's the expectations you're going to be getting from me, here's the expectations I need to be getting from you. How do you manage when the client is not bringing forth their expectations? They're not meeting the deadlines to make sure you, like, help me help you. How do you manage that?
Yeah, so that's tough customer that they bring you revenue and you like them because of that, but they're always a pain and a headache and you don't know how to deal with them. My advice would be just like have those tough discussions, have those tough conversations, just be open and honest. And I think the more that you communicate directly with them, the more that they'll maybe be open to changing behavior. But we also got to make a decision, like, is that the right customer that we want? And do we want to continue to bang our heads against the wall and work with them for that, like trade off that revenue? Like, I don't know. I talked to a shop the other day that like they said they proactively fire about 10% of their clients every year. Like they start over, and we talked about it because it was now, like January 1st starts. And if they bring in any orders, they have this really empathetic talk track of like not a good fit partnership business wise. And sorry, we're just not going to move forward. So like that's an option, but I would exhaust all options before that in like having really detailed conversations and put it in, we can put it in what's valuable for us. The mindset of, we need to do it. It's a pain on our team, but putting it in their eyes and like, we want to provide the highest level of customer service for you. And if you want the quality and the turnaround time and what we can provide for you, like you got to get us that in due time. Yeah, it's always a challenge.
Some of my happiest moments were firing clients. No, I remember those
like
better
that.
than some of the like good sales that I did. I never regretted it ever.
Yeah.
By the time I ever come to that point, I should have done it earlier. And it's not just for me, but my entire business was so much happier getting rid of some people that were just not worth it.
For sure. And if that's relationship is draining on your employees are way more important than a customer. You got to make that decision. If your employees are like, this is horrible, I can't do it. If it's impacting like business culture, team, you got to move on.
Question behind you there, Pam.
I have no idea if this is going to make any sense, and for you not to give away your secrets. So when you go into different shops that are around town or around the country, and you're trying to set their sales up to perform, maybe I'm looking for a little bit of validation that I'm kind of like everyone else in the world. I'm the owner, right?
Yep.
So I do most of the sales. Trying to bring a salesperson in. Do you find when people are trying to jump from here to there, it's because they don't have a salesperson and they're trying to add another salesperson in it? Or do you find the owner to go back to doing what I used to do and do a whole bunch of outside sales, which I don't really do anymore because we're kind of growing? Do you prefer for the owner to go back and recommit relationships and rebuild relationships, or do you like to have the company add a salesperson?
Hire a salesperson.
Or is it a 50-50?
I've seen it work both ways. If it's the owner that's going to go out and build it and create it and put focus and effort on it, great. But are they able to do that and sustain it long term and carve out a portion of their days, weeks, months to do that continually ongoing? If the answer is yes, great, keep doing it. If you feel like you want to like hand that off, I'm A-okay with having the owner of the business setting up sales process and scripting and messaging and outreach strategies, and then go in and bringing on that salesperson that can run it for them. I think both ways work. But again, if it's going to be you, if it's going to be the owner running sales, you got to put focus, time, effort, emphasis on that to make it work.
I think you can probably sort of multiply yourself, if you will, by the systems that you have that you talked earlier. You want to have a system. So if you have emails that convey the way what you would do it in person, maybe you're more effective because you have your website conveys what you're all about. If you're like the best for beer companies and everything presents that, then you might not have to spend as much time, something like that. There are ways to multiply
For sure.
your effect, right?
For sure. And if you are thinking about going on and bringing that person in, this is always a challenge with screen print shops. Hiring is hard in general, right? Like recruiting and hiring is a pain, but recruiting and hiring salespeople, in my opinion, is even harder. Like even mediocre salespeople are really, really good at selling themselves. Like they know themselves. Doesn't mean that they can sell. So if we are going that route, we got to make sure that we've got a structured hiring process dialed. We know what questions we're asking. We've got interview guides. We know what behaviors we're looking for. Really good salespeople that are making a lot of money don't leave jobs often. So like we got to do some analysis and really understand why they're leaving and what they're looking for.
More questions?
Hey,
Hi.
I just was wondering about when you're proactively seeking a client or an account, sometimes it feels like you might be more willing to give up more for that client. So with our inbound and our regular clients, we're pretty staunch with our pricing, for example.
Sure.
So what are your thoughts around like assessing your acquisition cost when you are outbound trying to target someone?
Yeah. So you're asking about like potential discounting for net new clients to bring them in the door, court them in?
Whether it's discounting or just like providing more for, value add type stuff.
Yeah, I'm okay with going above and beyond and value added services and really putting a lot of focus and effort on that relationship and experience and building trust quickly. Like I'm all good with that. Discounting is another story. Like we maybe have all been in a situation where we provided a discount to someone to get them on and using us. And then ultimately the next time they want to order, they're like, you got to give us that same price.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of expected, right? So I would maybe steer clear of if you do hold prices and don't negotiate very much, I would try to start it off with that. The talk track that I've used, you gotta be pretty confident and forceful in this and own the language and be pretty polished. But I'll use the talk track of, especially if people are asking for a discount up front, of acknowledging, I appreciate you making the ask. A lot of our other customers would ask for discounts. We stick to prices as is. I'm confident though, after you see the level of service we provide and the products we'll offer, that you'll be happy with the output and the price will justify itself. Can we just go ahead with this order and keep that price as is? Again, you got to be confident. It's got to be, you got to be direct at that. It's like people ask to negotiate because that's what they were taught and told to do. Outside of negotiating, I'm A-okay with providing a super high level of customer service to get them on and win it up front. I would question though, why are we doing that for all of our clients, right? Especially the people that are driving a ton of revenue for us.
Yeah.
I find the first order is a test a lot of times.
Yeah.
So there's some crappy job that's either like in a hurry or it's really difficult or nobody else will do it or their current provider can't do it. And so you have to determine, are all their orders like that? You have to determine, are they just sticking you with this crappy job and they're going somewhere else?
Yeah.
And so you have to figure that out. I would even be more aware when they give you a really good job and they don't question anything. Then I would wonder if they weren't paying their prior person, and I'd make inquiries accordingly. Because if it's too easy, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah.
So, but you do have to earn it, I think, to begin with. But you want to go, at least my point of view, you want to go what he's saying, go above and beyond. Don't go down and dirty.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
There's a question over there.
Oh, there you are.
You want to ask and I'll just repeat it?
When you hire a salesperson and you are trying to make the transition, I'm the owner, but I want you to start working with this person, do you have any recommendations for the process?
So the question is on the process of transition from the owner passing off a customer to a new salesperson.
You should be dialed on that, like language and the communication for sure. I would even liken this to if I am a salesperson and I'm passing off the relationship after I brought them on as a client to an account manager or customer success manager. Again, there's not a lot of salespeople that can do all of those roles really well. So if it's owner to that customer success or salesperson or salesperson to account manager, customer success person, I think either way, communicating the why behind it and your level of confidence in them supporting that customer. So I wanted to introduce you to Rick. Rick's one of our customer success managers. You're going to be in great shoes. I'm getting pulled in a bunch of different directions. Rick is going to take great care of you. He'll manage the relationship. I'm not going anywhere. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out. But you're going to get a way better response and way better communication from Rick. I would just push that language. And a lot of shop owners are nervous about that. I don't want to give up my customers because they love me and we have this long-standing relationship. If we hire good people and support them, they should provide the same level of service that we provide our clients as well. There's no reason that we can't easily transition that relationship out. And if we get pushback from our clients, we just got to have, again, a tough conversation and tell them, it's just, I'm the shop owner, and if you want that same level of customer service that you're used to, I got to pass this on to folks on our team.
Good answer, as all. All right, more questions? All right, hearing none. Kevin, you have some kind of training going on soon, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I do a lot of one-to-one just shop consulting. But last year I started a membership community called Sales Inc. So it's sales.ink. Last year we started in July with the first cohort. The second cohort kicks off now. It's essentially just this community of screen print shop owners and shop salespeople that get together. We meet twice a month. We've got a group Slack channel. It's just this time that we get together and talk all things sales. Again, in our industry, we don't often talk about sales. So to put specific time on the calendar to focus on how can we grow the business? How can we drive revenue? I love it. It's part me delivering content to them, and it's part the group talking about strategies and things that are working for them. And all things sales. So sales.inc, if y'all are interested.
All right, and can you hang out for a couple minutes here?
Yeah, I'll be hanging out here.
If you're more shy and don't want to make public questions, Kevin
Sounds
will
good.
hang out for a minute, and then the rest of the show you have
Yeah, I'm hanging out in the rock area.
He's good on sales, marketing. I don't know. He's got a table
Oh,
and a
my
bunch of
boot
business
sucks.
cards.
But yeah, come say hi, hang out.
Come talk to him about sales, not marketing. All right.
Thanks, Rick.
How about a hand
See y'all.
for Kevin?